Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. You saw Coach Bluter earlier, Caitlin Clark subsequently. There she is, Monika Czinano, star of the Iowa women's basketball team. Monika, great seeing you.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thanks
very
for
welcome.
having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for doing it. My pleasure. So much to get to with you, and where to start and where to begin. You come in with Megan Gustafson. What is that like? They always say you never want to be the person to replace the person, but here you are. You're a freshman. She's this rock star senior, setting all kinds of records. Here you are, 31 points away from 2,000. Am I right on that? 31 away?
I didn't even realize I was that close.
Sorry, I don't want to freak you out.
No.
By the time this airs, you might be there already. You got the Dartmouth game upcoming, and then Purdue for sure you'll get that. But talk about that whole process with you coming in with someone like Megan Gustafson and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, it almost feels like a different lifetime ago, honestly. I've been here for so long, but I think that I couldn't have came into a better situation for me. I think a lot of people were worried about me coming in and having to kind of replace Megan, but I really think I learned so much that year, just work ethic wise, what it means to be a good student athlete, like putting school first, putting the community first. And then she got me in the gym all the time to work out with her, kind of showed me what I needed to do to be so successful. And for that, I'm forever grateful to her. And obviously she's killing it in the WNBA and overseas. But yeah, it really does feel so long ago. So I think just my mission is kind of continuing that legacy that she kind of brought here. And it's wild to think that I'm even in like the same realm of having the same amount of points as her. I remember watching her and being like, oh my gosh, like we're truly witnessing something out of the world. So it's so cool, and she's just one of the best people ever. Yeah,
and we want to take that, into the postseason because you got to experience an Elite Eight early in your career, and what a process. Coach and I talked about that a little bit. Take me through that from your eyes as a pie-eyed freshman, and bang, here you are.
I know, I was so lucky because I don't think a lot of freshmen get to realize how special that is. Like, I remember after freshman year winning the tournament, going to the Elite Eight, I was like, this is all I knew at that time. Right. So like the next couple of years, I really realized how hard it was to do that and how special it was. So that kind of made last year winning both regular season and tournament so much more special, having realized that. But I do think it's cool to kind of have that experience under my belt, to know what that pressure is like. And I'm excited for the rest of the team to kind of rise up to the challenge. I know we fell a little bit short last year, but I'm so excited to be back and to be able to compete for that again this year.
It's intriguing when you talk about, COVID, then sidelines everything, and then you don't play in front of fans for a year. And I want to get to your background, what brought you to Iowa from Watertown, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about that a little bit with the whole COVID process and what that's like for a student athlete and a student period, a young person. Everything has stopped. What was that like for you as a basketball player and the team, and then coming back and playing in front of no fans when we know Carver's the best place in the world to play?
Oh, yeah, that was such a weird time. I remember us talking in the locker room, like, what is this COVID thing? Like, what is happening around the world? And then just getting shut down was heartbreaking, really. And then kind of having that, nobody knowing when we're going to be back on campus. I remember being at home trying to do weightlifting with like milk jugs, like makeshift weight room type stuff.
Yeah, because you can't go to the gym.
Yeah, but it was unique because everybody in the country was doing that. Like we weren't unique for having to go through that. So it was a huge obstacle for every student athlete. And then coming back on campus, it was hard because we really had to focus on staying at home for the fact that we wanted to have a season. Like we really had to take that next level of being safe. We really couldn't go out and do anything quite at all. Even going to get food was kind of a risk that we couldn't take. So it was really isolating, and I think any student athlete around the country would tell you that. But I was so happy to get to play, even if it was to cardboard cutouts. It was so much fun, and I think our whole team gets so locked into the game that it was really hard not to have Carver and the fans, but we just took it so seriously in that season. So I'm glad it's behind us, though.
Yeah.
But now we have full rock and Carver.
And full rock and Carver indeed. So the intriguing thing to that is, like you said, you get all this early success and get to play with someone like Megan Gustafson, go to an Elite Eight, win the Big Ten tourney, as you mentioned, and now you're rocking and rolling in a side stop, not even a sidebar, but a stop to the season, and then, life. But it could always be worse, as they say, because think of the high school kids. You were at least in college, no prom, no homecoming, no graduation. Your younger sister went through all that. So for you then, coming back, the appreciation you must have, and it really, I guess, does that galvanize you as a team, as you kind of alluded to? But also think of the stories now you're going to have for your grandkids.
Oh, I think about that all the time. Like telling my kids, well, back in my day, I rode through COVID, but I think it really did bring our team together. I think we were getting tested so regularly that we were truly the only people we could hang out with during that time. That was really it for us, and I do think it brought us so much closer in the long run. But Yeah, again, I'm so happy it's in the past, but we're such a good team. Like we choose to, even if we didn't have COVID and didn't have to hang out with each other, like we choose to have our team together and to hang out all the time. So
Well, I'm smiling because
Yes.
Coach and I just talked about,
Yes.
people talk about being a family. I didn't mean to interrupt. I want you
No,
to continue,
yes.
but I was going to jump in right there and say, I've been around a lot of athletes over time and covered teams at all levels, and I don't think I've seen camaraderie, community, and family like this. People talk about it a lot,
Yeah.
but to actually see it, pretty cool stuff.
Oh, it's awesome. We all live in the same building. We all choose to be there together. It is just truly like a family, and I'm so blessed because I don't know any different.
Right.
This is all I know. It's all I've known. My high school team was like this, so I've just been really blessed in the position I'm in.
So I'm going to ask you the question before we go to break, and I want to get into your background, what brought you here to Iowa from Watertown, Minnesota, and last year's big season and what's upcoming for this year. Got to ask you. So, playing with Caitlin Clark, have you ever said? Now, be honest, because I'm
Yeah,
going to know
I got it.
if you're fooling me here. And Coach was honest. Have you ever said to yourself or to her when you see her launch a 35? Well, let's be honest, a 40-foot logo 3. Have you ever said, no, okay, good shot, good shot? Have you ever said that?
Oh my God, yeah. A lot of times I'll be behind her, like I won't even be back on defense or on offense yet, and I'll be like, oh, and then all of a sudden it goes in, and I'm like, oh, bet I can just run back a little bit onto defense. But it's just I've gotten so used to it, and it's
You
something
sure?
that I've been so lucky to get used to. Having her type of range and making those consistently
Yeah.
is quite insane. A lot of times I think I'm so spoiled because I'm used to the behind
Sure.
the back passes and
Yeah.
those crazy logo 3s.
Keep your head on a swivel,
I know,
as they say,
really,
right?
Keep my head on a swivel, but yeah, I'm so blessed to have. I've always had teammates that have extraordinary talent, and she's one of them, up there with the best of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been so lucky.
Well, I knew you'd be lying if you just said no, because
Yeah.
but it's awesome to see Caitlin, you, and the other, whomever else is on the floor with the 5 of you, when she hits one of those and the rafters just come down on Carver, and all 5 of you are doing this, exhorting the crowd like, come on. I'm like, oh, they're ready to go anyway.
yeah, it's
Fever
so much
pitch.
fun.
Yeah, very cool. Well, let's run to our first break, and then we'll come back and we'll get into much more stuff. She's Monika Czinano, star basketball player here for the Iowa women's basketball team in her senior year. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Make next harvest your best harvest with Mershman Seeds. First, our connection to MS Technologies makes us an industry leader for Enlist E3 soybean genetics. Second, Starting Line seed treatment, our most advanced seed treatment, comes standard with added protection against both sudden death syndrome and white mold. Third, upgrade with Saltro and Trunemco for maximum protection against sudden death syndrome and soybean cyst nematodes. There's only one leader in soybean technology, Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There she is, Monika Czinano, star basketball player with the Iowa women's basketball team. It's so good to say, because I was talking to Coach about this earlier, Coach Bluter, and we were putting these interviews together, and thanks again, tip of the cap to Bailey Turner for arranging all this with your guys' busy schedules. And, we talk about women's basketball a lot. And my production partner, Michael Merrick, calls games for Big Ten Plus Network and calls the women's games. And we talk wrestling and women's basketball, as you know, on the campus of Iowa. Football is king and men's basketball. But I love the fact that, people say, oh, well, thanks for talking women's basketball. I'm like, you're welcome, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really need to be thanked for that, because what you folks are doing is just, it's priceless. I mean, it really is. And you mentioned community earlier, and I said this to Coach. I love watching, again, whatever 5 of you are on the floor, the attention you give to the fans or the whole group of you when you walk off the court with the posters and the high fives and the individual, not just young girls or little girls, but boys, everybody. I mean, when they talk about Caitlin Clark and you, a lot of times they say the best duo in college basketball, not the best women's duo. So I spent some time setting this up. So I want you to go into that a little bit, if you would, and take me through. Are you cognizant of that? Do you see the impact you have, or is it just, we just got to keep rolling?
No, it's actually insane. And I came from a state where we have pro sports, so there's not as much spotlight on college sports. But here in Iowa, it's wild. Like I remember last year when we were getting ready to go Sweet 16 or go play postseason games, people were coming up to me, like driving past me with their windows down, like, good luck, we can't wait to watch you.
That's
like
awesome.
Stopping me in the street, like all this stuff. And I was like, wow, all people, all ages, all ranges, they were stopping me. And I was like, wow, the impact is insane. And it's so cool to see all these little kids, girls and boys, asking for autographs and pictures and like asking to sign their arm. Like it's just the wildest stuff ever. But it's cool. It's cool to see that impact, really. And it shows that Iowa's such a good state for harboring all sports, but especially women's sports. They've done such a great job of highlighting that. I think we've had some of the top attendance so far this season. So we're really lucky. It's going to be such a cool thing for me to kind of look back on. I think in the moment, I'm just living in it truly every single day. But looking back on my life and seeing it all, it's going to be so surreal.
So let's talk about some of the other experiences. We talk about Caitlin, we talk about you, and both of you are approaching 2,000 points at the same time. As you're smiling as I start to say that, and Coach said the same thing to me. She said, and I think this quote is perfect, and I want your opinion on this. She said, those two are so happy to be playing at Iowa, but then they're also happy that they're here at the same time. Your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, she couldn't be more right.
Yeah.
I think both of us were kind of shocked that we were coming up on that milestone at the same time.
Glad I could update you on that, by the way.
Yeah, really. We had no idea, but I just think that, even my decision to come back, it was a no-brainer, knowing that I would have the whole starting five, but especially Caitlin to lead the ship. It's just so cool. I'm so thankful that I get to play with a talent like that, and I just get to work out with her every single day. Like, it's truly wild, the privilege that I've had in being here and the coaching staff and kind of how they've shaped us. But yes, I am truly so glad that I get to play with Caitlin and especially not against her.
Yeah, amen to that. And what I love is, and Coach was saying this too, you and I joked a little bit, but no, there's no joke. Head on a swivel, because those passes could be coming from her ear, behind the back, between the legs. You're getting them anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah, but that's totally prepared me for what I'm going to face after college basketball. Like, she is one of the best, and I'm going to see that in the pro level. So I've definitely been prepared probably the best I could. I've gotten the best one.
Are you excited? That's what I was going to ask you. I know you're in it right now, but looking beyond, you see, again, what Megan Gustafson has done, and like you said, just crushing it in the WNBA and overseas.
Yeah.
That's got to be an exciting prospect. And obviously you're a great student, because Coach Bluter doesn't have anybody who's not a great student, so you'll have your life after basketball.
Yeah.
But again, way before your time, but Coach and I were talking about this. How the times have changed, where a lot of times women, like in Jan Jensen's case, and I do want to talk to you about that, being a post player, and Coach and I talked about her a little bit. You're smiling again. What experience you've had. So you get to look forward to the, WNBA, and Coach Jan Jensen, we were talking, Coach Bluter and I, about going overseas and playing.
Yeah.
But talk about the experience being coached by the Jan Jensen in the post. How about that?
She's just phenomenal, and I'm so lucky. Like, I obviously don't have anything to compare it to. I haven't had really any collegiate post coaches, but she is just one of the best. The things that
what is it? Details, or what? Why do you think it is?
She's so little thing oriented. Like, she's not going to try to change everything at once, but it's all these little things that build up into huge things. But I remember, like, coming in my freshman year, all the little things I would never remember, and she would just continue to tell me over again, and all of a sudden one day it would just kind of like click, like, I'd keep my shot higher, do this and that. But from freshman to sophomore year, the coaches collectively asked me to like completely change my shot.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, whatever, you guys. Like, it really can't be that bad.
I love that response, too. Whatever. Okay, fine.
It really can't be that bad. And then I changed my shot, and all of a sudden my shot is faster. Like, I'm scoring on all these different opponents. Like, it really did make that difference. So they just see potential in a way that you can't even describe. But she is just she sees us all as so much more than basketball players too. Like, she is truly going to be in my life for the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
She's just, phenomenal person.
Okay, so I have to ask, so when you are in Minnesota and you see Megan Gustafson and you're being recruited, why Iowa, why Coach Bluter, why Coach Jensen? Did you see the potential, like, man, I'm going to be my best here, iron sharpens iron, or hey, it's cool, I want to get away from home? What went through your thought process?
Yeah, for me, it was honestly more than basketball. Obviously, seeing Megan's success and knowing that, the coaches coach that, and that's a standard that they live up to. That was huge. But, from the second I stepped on campus, I just could tell it was such a family atmosphere. these coaches love Iowa. They're not looking for the next biggest school they can get to. They're not looking for anything after it. They truly are putting all their time and energy into Iowa. And I remember meeting with the team and just kind of seeing how they interacted, and I just knew that was a culture that I wanted to be in. So the fact that Coach J coaches post players like she does was kind of an added benefit.
Sure.
But I wanted to be a part of this family, and so it was just kind of a no-brainer once I got the offer.
You're making this way too easy. Speaking of family, what was said that I want you to keep us on the air.
Yeah.
When you blocked your sister's shot and the Iowa-Minnesota game a few games back,
Yeah.
and you're walking through the handshake line. Now, I'm sure she said, you fouled me, you're older than me, you're taller than me,
Oh, yeah.
my dog is sick, whatever other excuse she came up with. What was that dialogue like? Again, keep us on the air
Yes,
here.
yep.
What was the dialogue like between older sis and little sis, truly?
Yes, it's so funny because when we're playing, we're both the same, where we are like locked into the game. Like we're not siblings at that moment. Like we are competitors at that moment. But after I blocked her, I remember thinking, oh, I can't wait to bring that up later. I just cannot wait. And immediately
So much
after,
for being caught up in the moment. All right.
Immediately after the game, she goes, that definitely should have been called a foul. And I just started cracking up. I was like, of course you think that. But it honestly is so cool to be able to play against her and to see her healthy. She wasn't quite as healthy last year, but we talked a little bit after and kind of both of us took it in and we're like, this is going to be such a cool memory to look back on, seeing us both accomplish our dreams like this and have the same stage. But I know whenever we play one-on-one, things get real physical. And so she definitely thinks it should have been called a foul, but clean block.
Hey, it is what it is. What did the ref say? Nothing. Well, I'll say this to you. Obviously, she's in Minnesota, so this is on statewide TV.
Yeah.
So I know you and the family will go, and all the viewers will go to DaveO'HaraSports.com. We post it there. You can watch it with your sister.
There we go.
And so not only did it happen in the game, we talked about it on TV. So
We did.
thanks, sis.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Maggie, but we had to do it, right? All right.
I love it.
Now let's come back for one more segment. We'll talk about where we're going from here, some more about Gabby Marshall, McKenna Warnock. We got to talk and also Addison O'Grady. What that's like, working with a younger person. We also got to talk some Kate Martin. I see you smile there, the glue of the team. So we'll talk a lot more Iowa Hawkeyes currently and moving forward. But she is Monika Czinano, star with the Iowa women's basketball team. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with more to close out the show in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, here with Monika Czinano, star basketball player with the Iowa women's basketball team. And I'm going to say it. I joking off the air, I called you Megan. And you said, Coach Dan does it. And you're talking Megan Gustafson. And you're like, well, if you're going to compare me to somebody, that's pretty cool, right?
Pretty good one.
That's okay to be confused with her.
Yeah.
So let's talk Hawkeyes this year. Wow, oh, wow. Last year, Big Ten regular season title, Big Ten tourney champs, stumbling block, Creighton here at Carver, tough loss. So you got a lot to get made up for, I'm sure. Caitlin's, junior year, your last year. I don't need to remind you of all these things, but again, setting you up here to tell me what's going through your mind as a team. McKenna Warnock is going to be, her last year. Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin. You got some young players in Addie O'Grady and Stokey coming up, and some other contributions off the bench. Molly Davis now transferring over. Giving you all these places to go here. Tell me what's going through your mind and the team's mind right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is just to kind of live in the moment, not look too far in advance, take every game just kind of as it comes. I think a lot of people are so focused on what we're going to do in the tournament, how we're going to prepare for that, but our main focus right now is Big Ten regular season championship, and then we'll worry about the Big Ten tournament, and then we'll move on to that. So I think that's kind of our biggest mindset, but also just pushing ourselves as much as we can. We have so much experience, us 5 starters with each other. So We know each other's tendencies and everything like that, so we can really kind of each push each other to get better in a different way.
I like that. Don't let us media guys talk you down a hole here. You do you, as they say. So, but let's talk about that a little bit. The experience of playing with Caitlin, but also McKenna, and also with Kate, and also with Gabby. I mean, the five of you, the law firm, and all the marketing and the talk and the cool impact you have on the community. But it's not just the Caitlin and Monika show. Those three have done wonderful work.
Oh, yeah.
You're bringing up another, as Coach Bluter said, the tallest person on your team, and Addie O'Grady, and she's got 2 years left. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff upcoming, so you get to be a part of that moving forward.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun, and I just think our team is so dangerous because really anybody can go off. Like, there's not just one person that, I mean, obviously we have Caitlin that all the defenses will focus on, but I mean, we've had games where Kate is splashing ridiculous bank threes, and like Kenna, I think Kenna last year led the Big Ten in three-point percentage for a little bit. Like, we have so many people who can do so many things on the floor that it's so dangerous. You really have to kind of figure out what you're going to do. And with Caitlin and I, it's a nice having the 5 and the 1. People can either really help in the post and kind of leave our guards open, or they can focus on the guards and kind of leave me open. So they have to make a decision there. But yeah, having Addie as being one of the tallest people I've really ever played with is so fun, and it truly makes, I think, the both of us better. I get to have a look at playing somebody taller than me every single day at practice, and I just really think we all push each other in a different way, and it's so fun. It's so fun to come to practice every day.
Take us through that whole landscape of what you go through as a women's college basketball player. It was heavily documented a handful of years ago about, hey, here's what the guys are getting at the NCAA tournament. Here's where we're staying. Here's our weight room. You talk about milk jugs with sand. I mean, there was a huge disparaging difference between the men's and the women's. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that a little bit, please.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking when we first kind of realized what the disparity was, because we didn't really see the men's facilities at all. We were kind of in our own little area, and if it wouldn't have been put on social media, we truly would have really had no idea for the whole scope of things. But I think sometimes in the women's game, we're kind of told to just suck it up and kind of be stronger, like handle adversity, but it gets to a point where there shouldn't be that much adversity for us to have to go through. So that was kind of a big thing. And I think it was cool because during that time, it didn't matter what team you played for, all these women's teams and women's players were kind of banding together to kind of fight this thing head on. And so it was really cool to kind of see everybody team up like that in a different way to fight for something bigger than basketball, honestly. So that was kind of a surreal experience going through that, and then kind of seeing the transition from the COVID NCAA tournament to this year. You could see some changes being made here and there. There's still a ways to go, but there was definitely some things that changed in those years, so that was good to see.
Do you see in the future the continuing growth? And I'm going to talk to her about this, but with Caitlin, with the Nike shoe deal and NIL, and again, I'm very happy and proud to say we've evolved now as a society and as a sports society, sports crazed society, that women are now getting that opportunity because, hey, they do sell shoes, and hey, they do sell whatever NIL and your NIL. Talk to me a little bit about that too. I think that's important, that I want the viewers to know that, again, I think they think it all goes to football players or men's basketball, and I hate to say even bring those things up to you, but it is still a reality, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're really lucky here in Iowa too. Like, our women's basketball team is so well known and so many people care about it a lot that we have had a lot of opportunities. But I think a lot of Power 5 schools, the women's basketball teams are getting more of these opportunities. I think that women's basketball is up there with like the most heavily recruited NIL players out there. So it's really cool to see Caitlin doing these deals, and a lot of her deals are focused like hometown stuff, like her deal with Hy-Vee and stuff like that. That's just really cool to see, and it's cool that we're able to promote different places that we really like and we really want them to kind of grow and succeed. So it's been really cool. I don't think anybody fully understands the landscape yet, but I can just think back.
When you do, let me know.
Yes,
please.
no, for real. I can just think back. Like, I don't even think I really had a radar on women's basketball until like collegiate women's basketball, really until I was like starting to get recruited in like 8th grade, and it's kind of when I opened up. But I had never really like tuned that into it, and I feel like kids these days are learning about women's basketball so much earlier and just becoming fans before they're even like navigating AAU or trying to get into it. They're just truly loving the sport. So that's a huge growth point.
As we close out here, and I greatly appreciate your time, and I knew this would happen. We're going to run out of time, so we'll have to do it again, right?
There we go.
Okay, so let's talk about your life, your career, what you're studying in school. After basketball, what do you want to get into? And I just, Coach always talks about academics, and you do as well.
Yeah.
And it's not just talk. You see it here, folks, at the University of Iowa. What's your academic world like?
Yeah, so I'm biology is my major, gender studies minor, and then entrepreneurship certificate it. So, I mean, I've been here for a while too, but I kind of have a full deck of cards there. So I'm hoping to go into medicine kind of after my whole basketball career is over. I don't know when that'll be. But yeah, that's going to be kind of the next step for me, back to school, back to more of it. But I kind of thrive in that environment. So I'm really looking forward to that down the line.
Very
but
cool.
as long as my body is willing and able, I'm going to stick with basketball for as long as I can.
Why not? Monika, I can't tell you how fast this time has gone. I want to thank you so much for taking the time
Thank
to
you
talk
for
to us.
having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Truly my pleasure. Well, there it is, folks. Just that easy. Monika Czinano, star of the Iowa women's basketball team. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back next week. So for the star, Monika Czinano, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. That's all for me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.